What's up, everybody? It's Rob Liefeld's favorite nerd. Today we are looking at the Revoltech Deadpool. I had a couple requests to do this, and luckily a viewer, Mike E, or Michael E, reached out and said he had one available and asked if I would take a look at it. I didn't have any real interest in this figure because I don't have any real interest in this company, but because I've had so many requests, I figured I might as well. This guy comes with a ton of accessories, and that's kind of a golden or silver lining here because of the problems that are with this figure, which we definitely will talk about, believe you me. Now, let's talk about those accessories. We're going to set him to the side for just a second. We'll integrate it as we can. First of all, he comes with a sword and scabbard or sheath set. This plugs into his back. You can use one of three notches here. He also comes with a display stand that we won't be looking at because it's all taped up nice, and I don't think it's really necessary. But it comes with a display stand, and I'm going to give them credit for that it works. Even though I don't know for sure, I'm going to go ahead and trust them in this one particular case. There's three places you can plug this in. That I'm not exactly sure why. I would imagine for some poses and stuff, but either way it works just fine. You can also take these out so that he can have it plugged into his back, and it looks as though the swords are in service. Swords, you know how I roll. Let's plug this back in. We'll talk about the detailings. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of plastic, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the red piece is one piece, and then the black and white is put on, and that looks good. The black is like a glossy black plastic. It looks fine. And then we have the swords handles themselves, silver paint around the base. All of the stitching and stuff is our wrap, the cling, what have you, is all... It's all sculpted, but it is kind of a dull sculpt. It's not like a sharp sculpt, but it's fine. I don't think it's a big deal. And then we have silver around the ends of the sword, but we do have spillover. It's not the cleanest paint job in the world, but I think overall it is okay. He then has two swords that you can use to have him like in battle mode or whatever, or sword swinging mode. And then to accompany those, he also comes with hands. Hands to hold the swords. Now, the problem is that as far as I can tell, the only options to hold those swords are these hands, which are also trigger hands. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it would have been nice to have had two different sets of holding hands. And as far as I can tell, those are the only options. Nice silver finish on the blade, nice silver paint on the ends, just as we've seen. Once again, it does get sloppy in just about the same parts as the ones on the sheaths. Same for this one, although this one is the cleanest of the four. He then comes with two pistols. They are fine. They're single cast, nothing really to write home about, and once again, he does hold them. Now, this one is a bit more open, it looks like. Let's try. I don't know here. Because it seems like you got to put a fair amount of strain on this plastic. Let me take a look at this real quick. Yeah, if you have this guy or you're thinking about getting this guy, I would take a blow dryer to it and then kind of warp the finger, I guess, in order to get the guns in, because otherwise you got to put a fair amount of stress on these in order to get them to work. So yeah, that's not the best in a design sense. So I don't care for that. I don't like that at all. But I'm not going to harp too much on it. We got a lot more to go through. So we got two trigger hands. We have two posing hands. Red plastic, black paint. The black paint is applied well. And then we have two thumbs up hands, one of which he has on and then one here. Same sort of detailings. And then two fist hands, one of which he has on and one here. We have the head that he comes with that we'll look at here in a minute. And then he has this additional head, which is fine. And then he has different eye pieces. Now this is done kind of clever. They give you a little tool. This is like surprised face. And it's got like the mouth kind of open. The other one we'll take a look at in a minute. It comes with this tool that you can use to push out on the eyepieces. Once the eyepieces are out, then you can insert new ones. I'm not going to insert a whole bunch here. Maybe I'll take some pictures later. We'll wait and see. Let me just get some butter and some WD-40. We'll give this another shot. Yeah, I don't want to cause any damage. This isn't mine, and I doubt this gentleman wants to replace this unit. But he does come with different eye pieces, which I will open up here and let you guys take a look at. So there's different sets of like serious eyes. We'll zoom in. grief. Different sets of serious eyes, like more squinting look and more of an angry look, but they're not all that different. But I guess it gives you the option to apply those to the surprise one. I don't know. And then, like, it's just a serious, like a half squint and almost a full squint, and then the two heart eyes, which is really, you know, the nice touch of it all, is to have to be able to pull that off. Outside of that, nothing really crazy, just sort of status quo. But I will say that the little tool was a nice touch in order to pull that off. And then he also comes with an additional display stand that I don't quite understand. But there it is. You know, I mean, he's not going to go anywhere, but I don't really know if this is necessary. All right, so let's first address the aesthetics, okay? This is a design choice that they decided to go with. So much like I don't know, in the third party world, much like, say, a Generation toy or something like that, you can't really hold this against them if you decided to buy this, because there were pictures available, so you knew what the style choice was going to be when they made it. Therefore, it's up to you to make the decision on whether or not to buy it. If you bought it based on the way it looks, then you only have yourself to blame if you get it in hand and don't like the stylistic choices. It wasn't going to change. Am I right or am I right? This, personally, for me, is a little over the top from my sensibilities, but that's totally subjective. Let's talk about the head, so to speak. It's pretty cool. I do dig it. You can interchange it. We'll show that. It just goes right on that peg. The peg inserts into there, so what this acts as is a ball hinge with a peg into the neck and then a peg into the head, and then the hinge allows it to look up and down. And then they put this additional flap in to hide any gappage so that you can have it down or up, and that is a nice touch, and I really dig that. It puts it at an extreme angle, but they're kind of going for an extreme animated look. The neck is also on a hinge into the torso. You can get gappage if you go to significant angles. And then you can get all the way down and you get a gappage in the back. I do wish that this swiveled as well. It seems like it gives a little bit, but I find myself wanting to turn it a little bit more than what it's allowing me to. Now I can use the swivel up here, but even that gets a little wonky around the sculpt of the neck. The neck does seem a little long to me, but once again, that's a stylistic choice. I'm not sure if they did that on purpose or if they did that for functionality. If they did it on purpose, fine. If they did it for functionality to get it in different poses, a bit goofy, in my opinion. The red itself throughout has a nice shading on it. It's like a, you know, I would say it's a wash, but it almost looks more like an airbrush. The problem is that it's not everywhere. So it's on the, no, it's on the neck, it's on the chest, it's on the torso, it's on the pelvis, it's on the thighs. Well, that is to say it's on the upper thigh. It's not on the lower thigh, it's not on the arms, it's not on the hands, and it's not on the head. Actually, it might be on the head. And it's not on the shin armor either. So that's a little weird. It seems unfinished in that regard, so I'm not a fan of that. The black is a flat black and looks good throughout, no issues there, and then the silver detailings are good, and the brown paint is consistent throughout as well, so no issues there. The paint is all painted brown belt here, and then the red and black. We'll talk about imperfections as we go through, but overall, the brown and black paint is done really well, and the red paint is just strange. So let's continue. It seems like it's a ratcheted, let's see if we can't have a peek. Okay, that's what I thought. There's another ratcheted ball hinge. It does get you to an extreme angle. I mean, he can almost look over to see if his shoes are untied. It does get you some gappage in the back, but if you're going for this sort of an angle, the chances is that you're going for a specific pose and therefore won't be looking at the back. So I'm even going to forgive him for that. And then a little bit of a give swivel-wise, and then the waist has a swivel as well. Not extreme, but our anatomic swivel is not extreme either in the waist. So I'm generally okay with that. It does seem like they should have, with the extreme posing capabilities that you have, like in the head and so forth, it does seem like they would have engineered a better option of that in. We just lost an eye. But they didn't. And it's not the worst thing in the world, but I feel like this figure, sort of design-wise, lends itself to have had just a bit more. But you can get it, you know, it's not without movement. You can get a little bit. Shoulders, which are my least favorite part of this figure. Once again, another ball hinge. plugged into the torso and then into the shoulder. It's ratcheted, so that's nice. But they're very soft and they're very subtle ratchets. But they'll hold. Sculpt-wise, we cut all this out. And we do that, it's double ball hinge. So it's a ball hinge here at the shoulder plugged into the torso, connected to another ball hinge in addition plugged into the shoulder. So same basic thing, just added an additional one, and that will allow you to get the arm all the way across the body. I'm not exactly sure what the reason is for that, other than the extreme pose, but I'm not sure if it's worth it, okay? I'm not sure if getting the extreme poses is worth sacrificing the aesthetic of the shoulders. It looks strange. The only way to really get the shoulders to look natural is to bring it all the way down, and then he has this weird bulbous thing on top of his shoulder, and it's limited articulation. So the point of doing this was for extreme articulation, but what it did was it negated any chance of normal articulation, which I'm not sure is worth the trade-off. Maybe you are. Okay, so then we have these belt things. Now they are connected here on more ball hinges, so you can swivel them out and around in order to get the legs up and down, and that's cool. That's a nice thought, and I dig it. What I don't dig are that the guns are molded into the holsters, so you can never store all the accessories with him. That would have been nice to be able to do, but you can't do that. Not the biggest deal breaker in the world for me, but not the best thing either. Moving down, and all the paint so far, we haven't gone through the shoulders. Let's go through those. So you do get the swivel, you get the arms all the way across, you get them all the way up, you get them all the way around, and then back down. So it gets you tons of range, just doesn't look pretty. No bicep swivel, but you do get one at the elbow. The elbow is on a single hinge, and it looks strange as all outdoors when it's used, but it does get you the full range. It swivels at the bicep, and then it also swivels at the forearm. A little excessive, but worth pointing out. And actually, this arm might have shading on it. Maybe the arms do have shading. It's just not, like it should have shading all on the underside, and it looks like it only maybe got, actually maybe it didn't get hit at all. I don't think it got hit, not like this got hit. Anyway, I can't, these feel like ball pegs down here for the torso, like they come down and it's almost wide jointed. Range wise, it gets you out to here, so the full Van Damme, and then also, let's see how far we go front and back. A fair amount of range front and back too. Not the full Monty, but it's I think it's definitely something you can work with. Thigh swivel is built in right here, and there's a bit at the ball peg, so I think that's smart. It's at this cuff here, so you don't notice the seam break up. Same on this side at these pieces, and then you get the additional one at the ball peg, so no complaints there, at least not from me. You got a huge ball hinge on the back of the knee. The nice thing is, though, is that the knee guard is on a ball hinge as well, so you can cover down a little bit to hide that ugly joint. Not 100%, but a fair bit. And then you can, it's on a ratchet as well, bring it back down. No issues there. Now, it does swivel there because of the Revoltech joints, and it does swivel off at an odd angle, but it's there. The knife is molded in, so you can't take the knife out either, so that's useless other than aesthetics. And then the ankles are on ball hinges at the ankle, ratcheted, so you get down to there, up to there, and then if you rotate the ball hinge, you get the rocker, and that works fine. Get it back sorted. And then the toe hinge, there's some sloppy paint down here on the red and black too. Not sure if you can see that. And then the toe hinge gets you a pretty decent hinge up. So that works. So yeah, that's him in a nutshell. We'll do a quick size comparisons just so you can see the general size he is, and then we'll do final thoughts. So there he is with Mafex Superman, Star Wars Black Series, and SH Figuarts Ant-Man. So I think he generally worked fairly well for your average 1/12 scale figure collection, if that was the route that you were going to go. Final thoughts wise, let's go over the bad. The bad is that you can't really display this guy in any sort of like cool way in a relaxed pose. You pretty much have to do something dramatic, and even then sometimes he has a hard time getting out of his own way with just the awkwardness of the joints. The paint is inconsistent, but it is probably 75% clean. The accessories are all really cool, except you can't integrate them the way that you would like to because of the design of the figure, in terms of the guns and the holsters, in terms of the swords on his back, in terms of the knife on his leg. There's just too many problems with the accessories to make them feel completely fulfilling. Also, the gun being able to fit into the hand properly. For as articulated as it is, for as many moving joints as there are, it still seems incredibly awkward in almost every position you put him in. That's not to say you can't pull off some great positions. We've seen the pictures. We know it's possible. But it is to say that it's a bit challenging to find one that suits my sensibilities anyway, where I would feel completely satisfied in purchasing a figure like this. I think that it is a good effort. I think that the paint is well done where it is well done, if that makes sense, which is most places, to be fair. I think that the materials are good, and this is the second Revoltech figure that I've looked at, or Revoltech, or whatever. I know people get all sorts of emotional in terms of the phonetics of that name of this company. But, and the first one I looked at was a sloppy mess. That was the Iron Man figure. This one is not sloppy. All the joints hold up well. All the little hinges are ratcheted where they should be. I should also mention there is a ball hinge in the wrist too. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. That allows you to get up, down, in, out, and the swivel. I do love like the different eye accessories and the little tool they give you in order to make that a little bit more enjoyable. I think that the sculpts of the weapons are great. So there are a lot of things here that I like better than I liked on the Iron Man, but there are a lot of things here that just don't work for my collection. But I think if you're a huge Deadpool fan, you'll be satisfied with this. I think if you were looking to put this amongst your Marvel Legends or something, because that one's hard to find, I'm not sure that you'll be 100% satisfied. I'm not sure that he will look appropriate next to the others. I've yet to be wowed by this company, but I've yet to find anything that I think is just an utter piece of junk. It's just that when you're paying the import prices, it may not ultimately be worth it, especially when there's a $20 Hasbro that can't do anything that this thing can do. And I get that, but it is a viable option at its price point, once again, if you can find it. So I hope that that helps in some regard. I definitely don't recommend this. I don't think it's horrible. I just can't recommend it because I just personally don't like it. I don't like it because I can't really get it to look the way that I would want something like this to look on my shelf. And that's not to say that you can't do some cool things with it. I think that's pretty cool. Like looking at it from the side, that looks a lot better to me. But, you know, it's a lot of money to spend on a figure from the side. You know, so if you're a Deadpool fan, I think that you'll be 100% fine with this purchase. And I mean a hardcore Deadpool fan. Like, shout out to Joe KW, Uncle Dolphin. He's a huge Deadpool fan. He'd probably love this thing. But if you're kind of just, yeah, he's fine, and, you know, I'm going to put him with my other figures, then I can't recommend it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.